friends. Welcome back to the Manifesting Money Podcast. I am super happy and grateful that you guys are going to be in Michelle's energy today. My first question for you is, how are you doing today?
Hey, Anita. So I have to tell you that I have never felt happier. I just got back from the beach, spent the morning with clients, calls, did a couple of interviews. I'm like, I have an hour and a half to kill. Not to kill, but an hour and a half to enjoy. I'm going to go down and float in the ocean, and not a single person was on the beach. And it was just me and the ocean and the waves and the salt water in my hair. And I feel fabulous.
Oh, I love it. I just love being in your energy too. That's why I'm so excited for this episode.
Well, I'm honored to be here and to be a part of this. And I just adore you. I just think, one of the things that I really want your listeners to understand, do you guys realize what kind of vibration you're tuning into when you are listening to her podcast? Do you understand the frequency and the energy and the vibration that it takes to be in alignment with somebody like Anita? It is astronomical, the chances that you would find her. And the fact that you found her, don't let her go. Believe in what she is telling you, because she is the truth. And I am here to validate that. Not that you need my cosign on anything, but I just want you as a listener to understand that you have tuned into a frequency of abundance, and it will not stop. It will not stop.
Oh gosh, I feel like the waterworks are going to come early in this episode. I feel like every time you speak to me, you speak to my soul.
Well, it's easy to, because we vibrate at that same energetic level, and like attracts like, baby.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited about this. So we've been connecting over social media. We've been on a few calls with each other. And I'm excited that we're recording this, because people can actually kind of see like what kind of conversations that we literally just have regularly. But I'm mostly excited because I get to hear more about your story. And this is the biggest part about this whole rebrand of this podcast. I was like, we need to bring consciousness around money manifestation. But before we do, I got 5 quick rapid fire questions, going to help warm you up a little bit, help me get to know you a little bit more. Ready?
I'm ready.
Yay. Okay. First question is, what is your favorite book?
Oh gosh. I mean, literally, and Ask and It Is Given by Wayne Dyer, The Power of Now, The Color Purple. I just, I don't really read fiction, but Oprah and I have a long-standing love relationship. I think that I would just start with those 3 right now. Also, The Knowing by Serena Dyer, his daughter, is phenomenal.
Ooh, noted. Okay, we're gonna put all these in the show notes on YouTube and on the podcast, so you guys can tune into those, because I love hearing what other people are reading. So my second question for you is, where are you from, and where are you at now?
I'm a first generation American. I'm half Colombian and half American. And I was born in Dallas, Texas. And right now I live on the island of St. Pete in Florida.
Truly manifested this too.
I manifested this $1 million view every single day. I look at it, I'm like, yeah, baby. And I have to go ahead to your next rapid fire, but ask me about St. Pete, because I'm just going to reiterate something that you always say.
Ooh, okay, cool. So my third rapid fire question is, I guess I haven't really figured out how I'm going to structure this word, but like, who is someone that you look up to, or someone that, I guess, coach, mentor, someone that you've really inspired?
Honestly, I would say God, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Oprah. That would be it.
Yay! Love it. Okay. Actually, this is my last rapid fire question for you. What was the first thing that you invested into, and how much was it?
The first thing I invested into? You mean like besides my education, or?
Like formal school, yeah.
Okay. The first thing I invested in my spiritual awakening, because everything before then, travels and houses and stuff like that, yes. I would say was a shaman course in Canada. And so I flew there, and I lived in Texas, and I had to pay for the dog sitter and all of this kind of thing. And it was a retreat. And that was probably, I want to say 5K.
And what happened afterwards?
Well, I learned how to speak to trees. I learned how to understand the energy between trees. I understood how to sage and palo santo correctly. I learned how to read other energy and how to send energy prior to going someplace. So, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love it. I don't even know what course this is, but maybe we can link it below because now I'm already intrigued. Cool. Awesome. So obviously we're both into this world of manifestation and have this huge consciousness around how we are the co-creators of our reality. So I guess my question before we get into all the amazing things that you've manifested is, where did it really start for you? I really want to know, did you grow up knowing about this kind of stuff? And
Well, I always believed that I could pray, think, and work really hard to manifest the things into my reality. We're always manifesting. So from the second we're born, we cry. Somebody comes and they bring us a titty or a bottle, right? And then we cry and they change a diaper. And so we learn from instant, like when we speak, we receive. But as we get older, we sort of become disconnected to that vibration, and we start to say, "Oh my gosh, it's just me, myself, and I," and that is all ego. And what is ego? Edging God out. And even in the Bible, there's 250 different verses about manifesting. And so, I'm a seeker, and I have a mindfulness cognitive therapy degree. I have a business, and then I have a certified happiness expert from Yale. And I always was seeking and seeking and seeking, but because of how I grew up, my mom died when I was 10 and a half, and all of our family was in Colombia. And my dad, within about 60 days of my mom dying, drove me to an orphanage and gave me away. And he kept my brothers and my sister. And I was abused there. And then I got to college and married literally like a virgin, married the very first man that was kind to me. And he ended up being very abusive. And we were married for a very long time because I couldn't get away. I started my first business with $250 and a car that literally went in first, third, and reverse. And in 5 years, I grew it to $1 million business. And then I started my second company, which was a PR company. And my very first client was dancing with this charity event, Dancing with the Stars of the Dallas Cowboys and the Rangers. And so in 45 days, I was profitable. And my second client was with Bravo Television. And from then it just grew. And so in 2015, it had just gotten too much with my husband. Every day I was crying and depressed all the time. I'd cry in the shower, I'd cry in bed, I would cry all the time. And because he worked for me, there was just no separation of any of this. And so we separated. And then on what would have been our wedding anniversary, I filed for divorce. And I finally got divorced April 6th of 2016, broken and bruised and angry. I was angry at my father. I was angry at God. I was angry at my mom for dying. I was angry at my husband. I had 6 miscarriages. I have a C-section scar and no babies. So I had a lot of anger and a lot of pinned up frustration, just like I'm sure so many people who find you are just sitting in a place where they're not sure exactly what this all means. And because of that situation, I ended up attempting suicide. And it was at 3:00 in the morning, and I'm taking all the pills that the psychologist gave me, because you should never go to doctors like that. They're just going to fill your brain with chemicals. Wow. And I was taking Adderall to wake up and Xanax to relax and Ambien to go to sleep. And I just stored up a couple of months worth and just decided it was time to get off the rock. And I had studied all the different ways that people fail at committing suicide. So I had my duct tape over my mouth. I had the sock in my mouth. I had a bag for my head. I had everything ready to go. I had my life insurance set. And I'm in my backyard thinking I'm going to hit my head on the side of the pool and gently go to sleep. All four of my dogs, including a blind one, came out one by one and sat in a row. And if you have dogs, it's impossible for dogs to just sit still, even if you gouge them full of Benadryl. And so for this to happen, I got down on my knees and I took my duct tape off and I'm grabbing my sock out and I'm looking at them and I looked up at the sky and I said, if you don't want me gone, you better make it clear. And I called a girlfriend of mine whose boyfriend was an EMT and they brought over Ipetic and it causes you to vomit. And I puked up all of the drugs and I just told her to leave. Just leave. I was so broken. I was in a trillion little pieces. It was like all the value I had was around money and I just hated it because I could be very successful and I was on stages giving speeches about how to be a Latina entrepreneur, how to get money, how to get loans, how to be successful in business, how to become famous. I'm booking clients on covers of magazines and on national interviews and I'm doing media tours and I hate everything because it all resonated and it began with this bond between me and anger. And so when the bond bended me so much that I was going to break, the universe had this other plan. And I had my dog sitter set up to come walk my dogs for 90 days because I told her I was going on a tour and I was just planning on being dead. And so the dog sitter's coming and I'm laying in bed and I just can't eat. I can't do anything. All I can do is just stare at the ceiling and like, why didn't I follow through? Why did I let the dogs talk me into it? And I had been watching like ER on YouTube and I turned it off and I threw the remote across the room because I was still just in a very gestational period of anger. And all of a sudden the TV comes on. And then YouTube puts it on this voice. And I have my eyes closed. And the first thing I hear is, when you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. And I looked up at the TV and here was this man with a little hat on. And I proceeded to listen to him for the next 14 hours. I sat up in my bed. I ordered a pizza. I couldn't get enough of it. And that was Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I had set it in my mind that he turned on my TV and that my angels and my guides, not understanding what it was, not understanding what angels and guides were, but just something bigger than me turned that TV on because that remote was on the other side because I couldn't listen to anything. I didn't want to hear anything. I just wanted to sleep. And I had a lot of like melatonin that I was taking. So I could just sleep for days on end. And that's just a form of depression, and I don't even believe it was depression. I would say that I was out of alignment. And when you're in that place and when you're out of alignment and you're not really understanding the power of this energy and you get stuck in it, you're in a chapter of unaligned energy. And if you could work on your chakras and your energy and do certain modalities and practices, you'll snap right out of it. So I looked him up, like finally grabbed my phone. I looked him up because I was like, I'm going to meet Dr. Wayne Dyer. This man, it has saved my life. I'm going to have a conversation with him. I'm going to tell him that after what happened to me, what I went through and how he's changing my life. And I found out that he died August 30th, 2015. So I was heartbroken, but I still believed he was my spiritual father. Come to find out, just like my dad, his dad became an alcoholic. My dad became an alcoholic after my mother died and after he gave me away. And his dad abandoned him and his mom put him in an orphanage. And we had so many similarities. And he's a life path 9 and I'm a life path 9. Oprah's a life path 9. Mother Teresa's a life path 9. Gandhi is a life path 9. So I started to understand these things. And then I finally got out of bed and went to the half price bookstore. And because I'm an avid reader and I just call it my expensive library, I bring the 10 books I just read in, I get another new 10, I send my 10, I get another 10. So I'm over there getting a couple of books and a Dr. Wayne Dyer book falls off the shelf that I hadn't grabbed yet. And I was I was like, I'm getting to you, sir. I'm getting to you. Hold on. And I proceeded to just get into alignment. And I just told God, I said, all right, if this is the plan, you better provide money for me. And lo and behold, how it happened, I can't tell you, but I would get a check for $10,000 and then a deposit for $5,000 and a deposit for $2,000. And money would just flow into me. And I had a mortgage, had a full house, a mortgage, pool, 1,800 square foot house with a fireplace and a pool. I had a BMW payment and I didn't get out of bed. I would just go and study and learn and study and learn. And people would just pay me really crazy to do crazy things like write a press release to give me $5,000. I'm like, okay. And I mean, it would take me an hour and then I could go do what I was doing for the rest of the day. And so I just decided to really invest everything that I had because this was it for me. And I went to school and got my mindfulness cognitive training. I started going to Buddhist temple and I did a 30-day in silent meditation retreat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did. I interviewed rabbis, clerics, clerks. I went to temples. I went to mosques. I went to churches. I had to understand, all of these different ways that people were processing their reality through this thing that I had rejected that now I wanted to learn more of, God. Mm-hmm. And the thing that resonated with me most was the Buddhists said, I was in this meditation with these Buddhists and this monk came up to me and he was like, can we speak? And I was like, yes, we can speak. And he was like, I feel like there's a lot of hesitation in your energy. And I said, yes. And I didn't want to go into it, because I was very embarrassed. I never thought I would tell the story of the pool. Now it's a whole podcast and it's like my number one episode, my rock bottom, my suicide story. But I never, because of being a publicist and being rejected at such a young childhood, in such a young age, when your father rejects you, then your husband rejects you, and you get assaulted when you're a child, you just don't feel safe in the world. And you just don't feel like anybody sees you. You're just a commodity. Like, I can make you rich or I can make you famous, but you don't see me. Mm. And I wanted to understand that. And he was like, look, sister, we believe that your soul is so powerful and so big that only a small little piece of it goes into the actual body, and the actual soul could fill up your whole house. It's that big. Like, we're literally like monsters walking on the earth, but we can't walk in that form. So we put a little bit and our higher self is behind us. And so when the higher self is behind us, we can only activate it in meditation, in prayer, in mindset control, and in an energetic practice like crystals and saging and modalities and candles. And so I went and I was going to be the expert on all of it. Read everything, took all these courses, took angel courses, guides courses, shaman courses, meditation. I got meditation master, mindfulness cognitive therapist. Like, for me, just the way that my brain works is that I was such a skeptic that I couldn't believe that this was real. And when the money started flowing in, and I didn't have any hesitation and any resistance to it, because what did I have to lose? I could care less at that point about being homeless or anything, because I wanted to die. So I was at the bottom of the thing. And then all of a sudden, I turn around and it's a year later and I made like $90,000 and I have no idea how. Like, I don't even remember working. And so that was the beginning of me becoming a manifestation expert, author, speaker, and coach. And I am so completely humbled by this awesome responsibility. And everybody that I talk to or work with, my goal is that they always see themselves the way that God and their angels and their guides see them. And that they see how powerful they are, that they know they have this huge vibrational energy behind them. And I work very hard to show that to you about you. And that is what really drives me.
So good. There's so many things I want to dissect. So I guess the first part that I really want to dissect and go back to, thank you for being so vulnerable and telling us your story. I also noticed that a lot about your podcast is that you're very you're unapologetic about telling your story, and I really appreciate that. And I'm really big on vulnerability, because a lot of times we put people in the perspective of, oh, they've had it easy their whole life, and oh, they just manifest and all these things. So I think what you sharing this really helps other people be mindful of what's possible for them and how dramatically the shift can be. But the thing I wanted to go back to is actually your childhood. And I know that you said that your mom passed away when you were 10, and I'm so sorry. But my question is for you. What did that make you believe about yourself when, as a child, right? When your mom passed away and when your dad started drinking? Obviously, they're just things that start to project and make us think about these things. So what was the story when you were a child?
When my mom died, I can't say that I know what I was thinking because I was only 10. But when my dad gave me away, I just thought everybody was a liar. My mom said she was coming home from the hospital and she never did. My dad said he would be there for me forever and he wasn't. So I just believe that there was not any truth to this life. And so if it was me, myself, and I was going to make sure that this throwaway homeless kid was the most successful of all of his children, so he could look back and say, I gave the wrong one away.
Do you feel like you were trying to prove, when that first steps of becoming successful, it was trying to prove to him?
Absolutely, because, my mom was, Colombian, and con nosotros somos así, we're not thinking like, if it had been in the opposite shoe, my mom would have become a prostitute before she would have given 1 minute of her children away. And, it's very different in the Latin community versus, the white community. That's just the way it is. And, when they found out in Colombia, not much you can do back then, not much you can do now. And it just the path that I had decided, because we are all the deciders of our universe. So before I came here to the planet Earth, the teaching planet, I obviously wanted a huge amount of contrast and a huge amount of adversity because I'm a brave and strong soul. And I think so many people choose such a difficult path to come here in order for them to evolve and to step into their higher self.
Wow. Okay, that's another thing I want to get into is life paths. You made me conscious of all this stuff too. So I just get so excited. Another thing I want to point out in your story. So we talk a lot about releasing people, places, and things that are no longer serving you so that you can create space for the new things that are coming in. And I just love the part in your story where you're talking about how you married your husband because he was the first person that I can't remember how you worded it.
That was nice to me.
That was nice to you. See, this is a huge download that's also coming like up full circle, right, in my energy. And so I just love this topic. So I guess someone who's going through that right now, where maybe they're in that comfort zone, or maybe they married somebody or just around somebody who is just that type of energy, what would you suggest that they do to break that cycle?
The one thing that I would ask you is this person truly wanting you to be your best, or do they want you to be best for them? And are you catering to things that you normally wouldn't cater to if you were single? The point of a relationship is not to find your better half, because you're your better half. And if you're a whole person all the way filled up, and then you meet another person that's all the way filled up, you guys bring the third energy in, the entity, the love, the money, the security, the happiness, the joy, the elevation. I recently read an article about Tom Brady and Giselle. Now, if you don't know, Tom Brady practices manifestation. Giselle builds altars for him. And she takes the altars into wherever they're going with pictures of the kids and a candle and different religious artifacts, and has him practice intentional. He wears crystals on the field. And so when you have a partner, when you're both such a high vibrational place, where Giselle Bündchen, come on now, an ounce of fat on that woman, where? And then you have Tom Brady, a superstar, an athlete, and he is giving his 100% to her and 100% to his career. And she's giving 100% to their family and to her craft of practicing and creating and using crystals and energy and intentional thinking and visualization. And he says she would make me visualize for hours about the plays and about the things and it landing perfectly every single time. And she would say, see, baby, I do my part and you do yours. And there's no like, you're better because you're a supermodel or you're an athlete or anything like that, because they are such at a high vibrational place that now the third entity in the marriage is manifestation. So if you're not in a relationship that somebody's like, baby, what can I do today to make you your highest self? Do you need me to text you? Do you need me to call you? Do you need me to pray for you? Do you need a crystal? Do you need me to put something in the sun? Do you need me to pick a flower? And you're not doing that for them, you're not a vibrational match. Now, if you're in a lower vibrational state and this is just not something you could talk about with your significant other, then that is the answer right there.
So good. I know that's resonating with the people who need to hear that message. So still dissecting your amazing story. I was taking a lot of notes. But I noticed that you talked about having the external success, right? You were doing the things, you're talking to famous people, you're making the money. But I guess my question for you, I know that you said it was more ego driven.
Yeah.
So what, trying to think of a way. Let's say someone's in that position, right? Where they have all the external things and they're just not happy. What was
they're
like
just
the big,
hustling.
What's that?
They're just in hustle mode.
Yes. Okay. Yes, perfectly. What would you say to that person who is like in that hustle grind mentality?
So the one thing that I would say to somebody who's in that hustle grind mentality is, aren't you tired yet? Because it can be so much easier. And people think that this is some sort of witchcraft or voodoo or whatever it is. And that's what a very small percentage of the people who are in charge of everything want you to believe. So they positioned it that way. But once you tap into this, and me being the biggest skeptic of all, I didn't even pray. I rebuked God. I rebuked all of it. I was like, there is no God. There's just me and my will and desire to go to 50 networking events, to talk to every single person that I need to know, to connect with every person that I need to know, to hustle. I had multiple lung infections. I was sick all the time. I was tired. If you go to my Instagram, Michelle J. Lamont, and you look at a photo of me from 2016, you will think I had plastic surgery. I have aged backwards at least 8 years. I look more youthful, more happy, more beautiful than I've ever looked in my life. And this is not out of vanity. This is out of energy. And like I use Archangel Jophiel to restore beauty. And then I use a different angel for a different purpose. And then I use a different crystal for this. And I use a different practice for this. And they're all beneficial based on your belief system. So if you're in the hustle grind mentality, it is exhausting. There's nothing like the only thing you can do is sign up for another mastermind class and sign up for another course and sign up for another this and sign up for another that, because you're never in alignment with who you are, baby. You are divine light energy. You are a powerful, powerful being. There is so many ways you could have come here, and you chose this way. Don't give up now. Invest in yourself. Believe in your energy. Ask for help. Take courses like Anita's. Listen to podcasts like ours. Understand that when you ask, it is given. It's you that are in the way. It's you that are stopping it. You're the brick wall, baby. And so I need you to remove these bricks one by one and start building an ocean of abundance and let the universe flow. And if you think about it, why is it called universe? Because we're all in one vibrational energy, one universe. And when you're lower than the standard, all you're going to hear is and it sounds all muddled and you're like underwater in the pool and you're like, what are they saying? I can't understand. I'm going to go back to hustle and grind because that's what I know. And they're like, what they're saying is, you don't have to do this. It's so much easier than you think. Concentrate on having a little bit more fun. That's why I went to the beach today, because I had 2.5 hours and I was like, it's 20 minutes. I'll be back in 40. I can float for 25. I have salt. I have sand all over me. I couldn't be freaking happier. I have an elite client after this interview. I'm loaded up with people and opportunities all the time. Today, I'll give you an example. I listened to what you were saying this morning in your download, and you were like, and I love it. So one thing I want to co-sign on for you is you always say, like people think, oh, I have to have everything set up to move someplace. That is so untrue. I had put my house up for sale, because you have to go listen to how I manifested my $1 million view. It's too long to explain here, but I put my house up for sale. I had been receiving all these downloads about dolphins, and that I was going to a place where dolphins were, and ended up being like, this house, and so much so that there's a dolphin on my door. The door has dolphins on it. The iron gate has dolphins on it. And in my backyard, I have dolphins.
Chills.
So I did not know where I was going to live. My house had been sold. I didn't have a place to stay. I was so set on moving and changing the trajectory of my life energetically, believing in my angels and my guides, understanding my high source energy, understanding that everything is always working out for me, that I said, I'll go to an Airbnb with my 2 dogs. My dogs' names are Wayne Dyer Lamont and Dolly Parton Lamont. And me and the monsters were just going to check into an Airbnb and figure it out. And I'm swiffering my floors, and all of a sudden I hear, go look at realtor.com. And I go in, and the very first house is the one I'm living in right now. And it had been up for 4 hours. And I called the realtor and I was like, take it off the market. That's my house. and that was it. And I moved here without a job, without any real income, without any, thought process, except that I know that I'm going to get here and I'm going to figure it out. And I moved here in July, and in August, I had my biggest year to date, with speeches, with speeches and clients. So I know you're constantly telling people like, move and it will take care of itself. And you couldn't be more right. But this morning I was like, I heard your little thing about the downloads and what you were picking up on and that resistance energy. And I said, you know what? She's right. I'm going to try to manifest $1,000 today. I'm just going to give it away to the universe, and I'm just going to let it be. So I get back from the beach, just, getting my vegan. I'm a vegetarian, getting my little vegan food. I was going to try to open up, but my phone's dead. And now you know what time it is. Sorry, I don't know why my computer does that, but I guess it's for the blind. I don't know how to turn it off. The scary thing is that like 2:00 in the morning, I'll hear it's 2 a.m. I'm like, because I have a 3-bedroom house and a dock and a pool and all this kind of fabulousness now, and I can't. I every day I'm like, I deserve it. And so I get back from the ocean, from Sunset Beach, and I open up my email and it says, you've won a $200 gift card. And I was like, what? So the internet company, because I did auto pay for 90 days, is sending me a prepaid $200 Visa. And I was like, well, that's pretty good. I'll take that 200 all the way. And then I opened another email, and if you do coaching with me twice a month for 2 hours, so it's 4 hours total, it's $7.99. And someone emailed saying that they wanted to do twice a month coaching for $7.99, and right there, my $1,000.
Wow! Oh, I love these stories. To be honest, gosh, I know that we're already going to have to do a part 2, because I know there's so many things I want to dissect.
Absolutely. I'll come on here as many times as you want.
Yes. The biggest thing that I love about your podcast is just the stories. I love the way that you tell stories, and like the one with Oprah, guys. Okay. So definitely tune into one about the house, but the one with Oprah, I was just like, Oh my gosh. One, you inspire me to tell more of my own stories. And then two,
Good.
I just love just hearing the vulnerability and the actually like how everything happens, right? With the story that you're telling about Oprah is how everything like looks like it's going to shit and then like nothing's working out. And like people really don't understand like how you're just talking about the house and making the move before you even know how it's going to work out. That your actions have to be in alignment with the things that you're calling out there. And so I think like you again making the decision, putting it out there, trusting and believe it's going to happen, but also just really being open and receptive of like, it's going to happen. Maybe not the way that I picture it, but I know it is. And I think that's the biggest thing that I get from your stories is that like, of like hearing the story of how it manifests and how it all perfectly aligned and how that had to go wrong in order for this to go right is like my perfect or my favorite part about your podcast or just sharing manifestation in general. And so that's the biggest thing I wanted to point out about your podcast.
Thank you so much. You know how I told you the story in that I talked about Shanta Quallette, the chick I borrowed the makeup from, and I pointed out, I was like, well, she's black, but I borrowed all of her makeup and it worked out just fine. I got a text from her right before we came on, and she's coming down here in 2 weeks. So I'm thinking about having a little mini podcast with her to talk about her Oprah and how it felt to hear me tell that story on the air. She cried. She was like, I was so emotional hearing it because it was 100% true. And every single part of it, like she knew the publicist, Kayla Tucker Adams, had hired her and all that kind of stuff. So one thing that I would love for people to hear, if they don't hear anything else, is that you have no idea how many plans are being laid for you right now. And in 5 years, 2 years, 6 months, 3 minutes, you'll receive them. I've waited 10 years and I've also manifested something in 10 minutes. So it's where you are in the vibrational field that allows you to be an equal match to perceive it. And once you perceive it, you can receive it. And it really is not a play on of words. It's the way that energy works. If you take a proton, a neutron, and an atom and you split it open, they're tiny and they're all empty. And what are they full of? Energy. And so we are energetic beings. And so you have to understand, like Tesla says, there's a vibration, a frequency, and an energy to everything. And when you become in alignment with all three, the song that you want played in that universal song is your melody. It's your song. And there are so many components coming together right now. So if you are on the edge of giving up on something, trust and believe that your angels and your guides and your higher self is not. And they're going to throw a bunch of stuff at you on purpose so you can get stronger and stronger or until you get back on your path. And so exactly like the Oprah thing, like 6.8 million people, right? And then I get connected with her, right? With that one person that had the absolute authority to get me in that room. So I just want people to understand that you are bathing in the stars of abundance every single day. But you see black room, shut out, darkness, because that's all you're perceiving. Pay attention to one thing of joy, a butterfly, that you woke up. I got an email today that my friend's father died of COVID yesterday. Have a moment of joy every single day, no matter where you are. If you're on the bus right now listening, if you're on the train right now listening, if you're going through a divorce, if you're fleeing a terrible relationship, if you're starting a new job, if you're moving somewhere, if you feel like life has been your enemy, you have been perceiving it wrong because that's how I perceived it. And I want you to know that you are seen, you are valued, you are heard, and you are ready. You are absolutely ready to receive unlimited abundance once you become a vibrational match to it.
So good. Okay. I have a question for you. And again, this is like, we were just actually talking about this before we started recording, guys. My question is, what's the, not best way, but how can I feel more worthy of receiving? Like, what are the things that
Right.
I can physically do to be like, because I know obviously I say it all the time. I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. I treat myself on stuff, but I really, really just want to take this to the next level because you pointed it out. I've been getting the download. I'm like, wow, I really don't feel worthy of receiving. So, how can I take this to the next level?
So the first question is, why not you?
Whoa.
Okay. The second question is, who said you're not? Do you
Mm.
think that do you think that 6 years ago, even 8 years ago, a 300-pound black teenage girl playing a flute on a field thought that she would ever be a worldwide famous singing superstar called Lizzo? And I remember reading an interview with her, and she said, I asked myself one question: why not me? And I thought, yeah, society makes us feel judged for everything. Everything. You're too black. You're not black enough. You're too Latino. You're not Latina enough. You're too fat. You're too skinny. You're too tall. You're too short. Put this makeup on. Get this treatment done. Put this into your body. Put this over here. Do this thing. Drive this car. And you just don't realize who you are. And so you have all these influences from around, and you don't really know what it is that you're trying to receive. So just start with simple things. Why not me? And
Mm.
who told you you're not worthy? Who said that? They're wrong. And are they the ultimate creator? Did they create all the planets and all the solar systems and all the universe? Fuck no. So what did they receive? They received anger and jealousy and depression and suppression. And then they passed it on to you. No, thank you. You can have all that back. I'm ready to be the receiver and the perceiver of my reality. And when you say you're the creator of your reality, what I want you to understand is that it's not that you're the creator of your reality, you're the creator of the receiver of the perception of your consciousness. And so if I was to say this morning, like, oh my God, I really need $1,000. I really need $1,000. I really need $1,000. Where's this $1,000? Where's my $1,000? Where's my $1,000? Well, my $1,000 is going to skirt all the way away because it's like, whoa, we're not a vibrational match to this.
Mm.
And instead, I said, wouldn't it be nice if I just received $1,000 today? It would be so fun to play in this arena of money and to see this, just to have, just, I don't need it, but just to have it. And there it is. It shows up for me. And it's because I'm not attached to it. You have to be open to everything and attached to nothing. And the thing that you should not be attached to is your fear, because fear is a liar. And you didn't come from where you started to come down here to be ruled by something called fear. And that fear is not the truth. It's not your friend. It is not, it was only there like that rational thinking, right? So the right side of our brain is the side that says, whoa, slow down. That's a cliff. Don't jump. And the left side says, I don't know, maybe you're a bird. Okay.
Mm.
And so when you're only thinking in, oh my gosh, this is a cliff, then you're thinking like, well, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to get it? How many people do I have to talk to? Instead of letting the inspiration and the vibration come to you. And when you come from a broken and depressed childhood, you become an analytical thinker and you become ADD and you become a problem solver because you never want to be in that position again. Like I thought, I never want to be homeless again. I never want to eat government cheese again. I never want somebody to slap me across my face because they told me that I should get married and not study. I never want to be assaulted. So I wouldn't date. I dated the first guy that was nice to me. I'm like, I'll take you. And we live in this limited bubble because we perceive everything in the wrong way. And you're not supposed to see it that way, but we're trained. And when we're right brain thinking instead of left brain happy, what do rich people do? Rich people talk about buying more things. They're not worried about this house or this finance or a boat or a vacation. They're like, do you want to go to France or do you want to go to Nice or do you want to go to Greece? Where are we going to spend our summer? What are we going to do this fall? After our kids graduate with no worries and no stress, what are we going to do next? Rich people only talk about getting more money. They don't talk about losing money. They don't talk about needing money. They talk about getting it and spending it and having fun with it. So if you can only do one thing, I would implore you to give money away. And this is a technique that I teach. So I do a $5 class. It's not cost $5. It's just give away $5. So 5 $1 bills, and write on it, go for it. The universe says yes. I believe in you. And put it in someone's mailbox. Put it at the gym. Yesterday, I had somebody that took my Into the Mystic class, and I did this during the Into the Mystic. And so she was like, well, I'm going to see if Michelle's right, because she didn't do it during the class. So she did 2 $5 bills, and she wrote on this, Starbucks on me. And she was at the gym, and she put them in 2 different lockers. She just went, doot. Then the next day she calls me or she messages me and she's like, Michelle, can I get on a Zoom? I want to see your face. I want to see your face. I'm like, okay, babe. And so I set up the Zoom and we meet. And the next day she received a payment from the government that she had never expected receiving for $1,600.
Wow.
Because if you are an ample giver and you can just be generous, like if I go to the drive-thru, I always buy the car behind me. I go to grocery stores, I look for a woman with children or somebody buying generics, and I wait for them to get to the checkout, and I slide my credit card in and I pay for it. Because if money flows to and from me easily, I don't think about it. It always flows. It always flows. It always flows. The more I can give away, the better. I purposely every Sunday take $200 out to give away every single week. I'll see somebody who's homeless, or I'll put it in a diaper bag at the grocery store, or I'll leave it underneath a rock. I'll put it in a mailbox. I'll do anything I can, because money flows to and from me easily. And I'm not intimidated by it anymore. I used to be a hoarder. I would save every penny. I had everything paid off. I had everything perfectly in place because I had such a fear of it, such a fear of being poor. Because if you've ever come from that type of environment or background where you grew up with people who had that limiting thought process, well, of course you're going to absorb it. And then you're friends with everybody whose parents are like that. So they're all talking the same way. And then when you become the black sheep of the family and everyone's like, oh, she quit her nursing job and she's painting pottery and she's lost her ever loving mind, and she's listening to some chick called, Manifesting Money, and like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, 2 years go by, they've cleaned up their energetic field. They're living for themselves. They're enjoying their life. And next thing you know, everybody in the family is asking them, how'd you do that? What did you do? Well, I just became the black sheep of this negative family and allowed myself to be joyful and happy and abundant. And I didn't think about, I want to be a multimillionaire. I just thought I want to be happy. And that's really the key, is to just say, I would really love to just be free. Be free to wake up when I want, to go to the beach when I want, to eat what I want, to do what I want, to be around beautiful souls like you. And for me, it's about helping the collective and raising the vibration of the planet for whatever time that I'm left on the rock. And so if you're along for the journey and you want to level up, I'm, like Latzu says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, consider me the teacher then. Because all you have to do, like every one of my episodes are tutorials, really. I want people to learn it. I want people to absorb it. I want people to be a manifestor, and then I want them to teach it to everybody they know. Because the more of us that are in a higher vibrational state, it helps people like me and you who are even in a higher vibration manifest faster. So it is a little selfish. But I do want you to have yours, but it only helps me have mine. And so, I just want you to know that it doesn't matter where you are right now, and it doesn't matter how you started. It's not the story. It's not the beginning that matters. It's the ending. And I want you to start writing chapters of abundance and not chapters of lack. And so whatever you've had happen so far, okay, I get it. It hurt. It's painful. How do you forgive somebody who killed your child? How do you forgive somebody who murdered somebody? How do you forgive somebody who molested somebody? How do you forgive somebody? All of these things. Yes, yes, yes. I understand. I understand and I hear it. But you also have to say, What did that one person, the soul who came here, who agreed to go through this pain, how many lives did it impact by that trauma? And so don't let the soul's energy be wasted in the suffering. Allow yourself to be a vibrational match to the living, because they're not going anywhere. Energy never dies. Even in science, you can compress it and compress it, and it expands and expands and expands, and it changes and changes and changes. Even a thought becomes a thought. And so I just want you to be a little bit more open and a little bit less restrictive. And it's hard, and I get it. And it might seem like, well, maybe it works for them too, but I haven't seen anything. Go smaller. Don't say I'm going to be a millionaire, and if I put a lie detector test up to you and you're going to fail, energetically, you're going to fail. You're not going to get the $1 million because you don't believe it. Start with 50 cents. Start with $1. Start with $5 and work your way up. Start with a parking spot, and then a person or an apple or a fly or a butterfly or a feather. And then the universe goes, oh, okay, this is how they want to go. We'll play. We'll play. We like this. We'll play. And so they start playing with you and playing with you, playing with you. And next thing you know, people are like, what? How did you get that? And how'd you get that? And how'd you get that? I'm like, I don't know. I just decided to be happy. I just decided to be incredibly selfish and live my life for me. And you should probably do the same.
My job. So good. Michelle, I can literally talk to you for like 4 days. And I feel like if we could keep it rolling for that long, we would. Because one, every single conversation, guys, that we have is like this. And I just love it. It just reminds me why I started the podcast in the general, because like the main thing that I was manifesting, I was like, I just want conversations like this. And I was talking about this with somebody the other day, and I was like, I used to be the party person, not saying that I don't go out or anything anymore, but like the reason why I was going out so much and like searching, and like, I just really wanted to connect. And for some reason, I could never find it. And now that once I found it, and it was more of the people that I wanted to experience, not the actual going out, it just all clicked for me. And so that's why I just love these conversations and sharing them, because I know, because energetically, guys, you guys are with us and you're operating at this frequency. And that's why I always tell people, like, the shift really starts here. It really, really does. So, Michelle, I want to thank you for your time and energy. Obviously, guys, we're doing a part 2. And when we do a part 2, we're doing it live. I cannot wait. Okay.
I'll be coming back from the little beach in San Diego.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna do 3 parts. Live part 2, and then go to SD part 3.
See, I want to come to you.
Oh, come on down. I got an extra bedroom. I got 2. This is my little chapel in here, but I have an extra bedroom. There's dolphins behind me. On Sunday, I was meditating on my dock, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to see a little dolphin? And all of a sudden, something goes, open your eyes. And I opened my eyes, and right there at my feet was a mama dolphin and a baby dolphin, and a mama dolphin and a baby dolphin. And the little baby dolphin was just sitting on the fin. And it was like, because how you hear them normally, they go, and you can hear them down the canal because I live on the water. And I'll hear, and I'll get out there, and I'm like, I'll hold my hands. I'm like, right here, the dock without a boat, the dock without a boat, the dock without a boat. And I'm like, come over. And then I'll see him get closer and closer. And I'm like, I wish I had dolphin food. I don't know what you want, but come here. And I don't need it, because they just come. So when you come, we'll do a dolphin meditation for 7 days before you come. So that way they'll all come. And then my pool guy told me that in 2 weeks, the manatees come, and that you will see them all over my canal. Like, they love this particular canal. And he was like, every day you'll see manatees everywhere. And I'm like, please don't wake me up. If I'm in a coma and I am dreaming and I am like, you're thinking about taking me off life support system, don't do a damn thing, because this life couldn't be better. I'm so happy. When I think of 2016, standing in my backyard and attempting suicide, and in 3 years, I manifested Oprah and an incredible income. I live with $1 million view with dolphins from the front to the back. I can't tell you that it's the same for everybody, but I can tell you right now that your angels and your guides are directing you to this podcast for a reason. It is time for you to tune in. And this is the place.
So good. Yay. Well, obviously we're doing another part, but where can they find you right now? So I know that you said you have a couple different options of how people can get in your energy, the podcast. So your social media, you're always active on there, stories, IGTVs. And I know that you have a program which is probably when we'll do the next part so that we can,
Okay.
I'm already like so excited about this, but teaching people about really connecting with spirituality.
Yes. So I would say that if you just go to michellejlamont.com and you tap on my link tree under Clarity Call, you can right now manifest me with a free 15-minute call, and we'll go over whatever we need to go over. You just manifested it because an hour call with me is $111. So you just manifested $60 by listening to this podcast right now. Tap in, click your time, get on that call. You can sign up for my newsletter and you'll get my free ebook. And then I have a course coming up. I only take 12 people every year, and it's a 6 weeks one-on-one live course for manifesting everything. And we start with your ancestral trauma, cutting those cords, cutting your childhood cords, removing your limiting beliefs, introducing your guides, crystals, psychic techniques, remote viewings. The course I took from the CIA courses about how to do that kind of stuff. I teach all these different practices and modalities. And then we set intentions for the year, and all of the 12 people in the class all become buddies and friends, and you get to work with people at not only your energetic level, but that are going to support you the rest of the year. And so I have 4 seats sold already from last year because I keep it small on purpose so I can give you all of me. And so I highly suggest that you check that out and you listen to these podcasts. And I just want to tell you right now that your angels and your guides are so damn proud of you because you're doing the work. You're doing the work. You're doing the work. We believe in you. We believe in you. That is the message to receive right here. You are real. You are loved. You are noticed, and everybody is paying attention to you. You are worthy of this attention.
So good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
My honor, my honor, my honor.
Yay. All right, guys, I'm going to let Michelle go. Obviously, another part is coming soon. I want to dive so much deeper in so many things that you still said. I'm just like, so good. So make sure you guys tune in on YouTube as well. So check out the video if you're listening on the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Bye.